I'm Mike Belsito, co-founder of eFuneral, and we're going to spend just a couple of minutes to talk about things you can think about when choosing a casket. Once you've come to the decision that the funeral that you're planning for, whether it's a friend or a family member, when you've decided that you want to have a burial, one of the next decisions you have to make is what kind of casket to have. And the reality is there's all different types of caskets. Everything from wood caskets to metal to fiberglass. There's copper and bronze caskets. There's even eco-friendly options, which there are caskets made out of things like wool and bamboo. So there's all sorts of options, but how do you really decide what it is that you should go ahead and get? Well, we want to share a few ideas of things you can think about. So before you get to the funeral home's showroom, if you will, you have some things that you've thought about where you can make maybe a more informed decision. The first is consider what your loved one would have wanted. Now, chances are they did not sit down and tell you, hey, I want a metal casket, and here's the exact type of metal, and here's what it should look like. It's understandable that they probably never did that. However, were they eco-conscious person? Well, maybe that should be one of the reasons why you might choose a eco-friendly casket. Really consider what that person's personality was. Consider your budget. And the reality is caskets range from price so much. Generally, wood caskets can be less expensive, although there's certain types of wood like mahogany where it can be very expensive than most metal caskets. Certainly metal caskets vary in terms of price, as do eco-conscious caskets. So really consider what your budget is. Don't make the mistake of thinking the more you spend, the more you care about that person. That's not the case. Certainly it doesn't mean that if you don't want something that's lavish, you should have to spend that amount of money. The reality is cost has nothing to do with how you feel about that person, or at least you shouldn't feel like it does. So consider your budget when choosing the type of casket that you want. Consider any customization options that are important to you. And sometimes certain caskets are more customizable than others. There's panels where if your loved one was really into fishing, maybe there can be some fishing icons that are put in a panel which can be installed into the casket. Some caskets allow this, some don't. So if that's something that's important to you, consider that in terms of which casket you might select. And then at the end of the day, consider that no matter what casket you choose, there's nothing that can really stop a body from decomposing. And I say that, not that that's something that we all want to talk about, but some people think, gosh, the nicer the casket is, the more it will preserve the body of the individual. And the reality is no casket can preserve the body of the individual. So if that's something that's important to you, don't make the mistake of thinking a really expensive casket will be able to do that. Again, not something we want to think about, but it's important for everybody to know and understand when they're considering what type of casket they want. So we hope some of these ideas were helpful. For more ideas, you could certainly read a blog post that was recently posted in the eFuneral resources section at efuneral.com/resources. You also can visit our YouTube channel for more videos like this at youtube.com/eFuneralResources.